Welcome to the Denver Urban Debate League Summer Speakers Series. My name is Danny. I am the coach for Aurora Central High School. I've been involved with DUDL for about 6 years now as both a competitor and a coach. In this video, we're going to talk about impromptu and how you can get started as a novice and work your way up to junior varsity. So let's go ahead and talk about the topics real quick. First and foremost, we must be familiar with the rules before we do anything else. These rules can sometimes change from season to season, so it's very important that we stay up to date with them. However, it's kind of rare that they do change though. So secondly, we're going to go over some activities you can do for yourself to get yourself ready for your tournament. Then we're going to learn about how you can plan your speech after you've picked a topic. After that, it's time to give your speech, and we will talk about delivery and body language. And then at the end, if you still have further questions, I will post my contact information as well as doodles. And there will be a video example to show you what an impromptu speech might look like. Alright, so now let's talk about the rules for impromptu. Impromptu rules are very simple. Let's first start with the speaker order. So the speaker order is determined based on posting from top to bottom. And if you're at the bottom of the posting, then you're the last to speak. However, that's not always the case. Some students do volunteer to go first. Others volunteer because they are double entered, so that's why they go first. However, for the most part, it is top to bottom as the speaking order. Now let's talk about the time you're given for impromptu. You're given only 7 minutes to plan and speak. I suggest you guys spending 3 minutes on planning, and that gives you up to 4 minutes to speak. The longer you plan, I kind of believe the longer you plan, the worse it kind of gets, right? We want to just quickly get the plan out and then just run our speech. But when it is your turn to go, you will be handed an envelope by the judge, and inside the envelope there are 3 topics for you to choose from. You are not timed when you are picking the topics, but you're timed the second you have chosen your topic. And once you've chosen your topic, it is ideal that you ask your judge to time you on how much time you have left total. So if the judge says you've used 1 minute of your planning, you know there's 1 minute. You've used 2 minutes, you've used 3, you've used 4, and usually by then you should start giving your speech, because you are required to give a minimum of 2 minutes of speaking, right? So spend 3 minutes planning, and you must at least give a 2-minute speech. And you also get a 3x5 note card. With that 3x5 note card, you can use it to write whatever you want. You can plan whatever you want. It's there to help you give your speech and plan it too. And with that 3x5 note card, you can write on both sides as well. And later we're going to talk about how we can use that 3x5 note card to help you plan your speech. And finally, you must stay on topic and address the question if your topic was a question, but stay on topic, guys. Don't just, if you have a topic that's, say, M&Ms, and then you talk about, let's say, summer vacation. If you can manage to tie the connection, fine. But make sure you do stay on topic though. And finally, always remember to be respectful when someone is giving their speech or planning their speech. So now that we know the rules to impromptu, let's talk about how you can get yourself ready for a tournament. Alright, practicing impromptu is different because you make your speech up on the spot. It's not like drama where you have your piece memorized, or it's not like debate where you do all your research, right? In impromptu, you make it up on the spot. But if that's the case, then what's the point of practicing, right? So the important thing about practicing for impromptu is you at least learn how to deliver a speech effectively, and you make sure your body language is good as you're delivering it. So that's the whole reason why practicing impromptu at home is very important. And for novices or for JV even, speaking in front of people can be a nightmare. Really, it can. So when practicing at home, you can simply just use a mirror to record yourself with your phone. Practicing in a mirror will help you spot out bad habits such as having your hands in your pocket, Or if you catch yourself not looking at the phone or mirror very often, it might mean you have very bad eye contact, and that's something you might work on as well. All those things are small mental notes you can make, so that way it helps you during your round, so you can remind yourself and give a better speech, right? Small things like this can make you stand out and get ranked higher by the judges, so make sure you eliminate these bad habits as soon as possible, right? And again, we are gonna show a example of a speech for impromptu at the end of the video. But to select topics, you can just go online and find an improv topic generator. It really doesn't matter what you use. I'm sure there are some advanced that you can narrow topics and themes, but any would work as long as it's random, right? And you want to practice as you play, meaning we want to recreate a tournament environment as best as we can at home, right? So you want to take it seriously. You want to make sure you have a 3x5 note card or a piece of paper to help you. You want a timer to make sure you're within your 7-minute limit. Remember, we want to, plan our speech for as little as possible, right? The less we plan, the more we can just go and go. The more you think, the more you slow down, unfortunately. You can use a phone or a clock to time yourself. You can have someone else time you. You're gonna have someone else as your audience member, right? So practicing at home is pretty realistic for impromptu, even though it's a very unique event, not like drama or oratory or debate, right? There are no wrong ways to practicing impromptu. Sometimes your coaches might want you to do it a certain way, or you can practice a certain way you like that works best for you. Whatever it is, just make sure you practice, guys. Again, so we want to make sure we look out for bad habits, right? So these bad habits are just things that kind of could destroy your speech. So bad habits such as hands in your pocket, or again, very little or almost no eye contact. Alright guys, well, let's now talk about planning your speech once you've chosen your topic. Alright, so you've now chosen your topic, and now we're gonna start thinking about planning your speech. Alright, now we're going to learn about how we can plan a speech in a timely and organized manner. Sometimes when you pick a topic you're excited about and then you sit down, all of a sudden nothing comes to mind. That's the scariest thing ever. You gotta make sure you're organized and impromptu. When you're organized, you're calm, and then you can just work through quickly. It is important to take things step by step, since we want to make sure you're set up properly to deliver your awesome speech. So let's organize our planning phase so we don't panic as much when we're at tournaments. First thing you need to do is figure out what kind of speech you're going to give. There are mainly 4 types of speeches out there. There's pro versus con, informative, storytelling, and persuasive speeches. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys on the screen these outlines. So feel free to pause the video here and look at these outlines. Remember that you cannot pull this video up in the middle of your round, so make sure you have these memorized, guys. You can't use your phones for videos or internet in the middle of the round. Feel free to modify these templates to however it works for you, whatever you think works best for you. If your coaches have templates that you like a bit more, then definitely use those. The planning phase will be mostly the same across all kinds of templates, guys. So once you figure out what kind of speech you want to give, we have to figure out what kind of hook we want to get the audience's attention, right? So there are kind of 2 main kinds of ways to engage with the audience. It's with a quote in your hook, or you can use a rhetorical question. Another popular and common one is statistics, using statistics to get your audience's attention. So for example, if you're talking about education, it's wise to use a quote from someone that's talking about education, right? Your quote has to be relevant to what you're talking about. Same with your statistic as well. let's see here. And then the next step, once you figure out what you want your hook to be, is you need to always tell the judge what your topic is. And you don't want to tell the judge your topic by saying, my topic is ... That's pretty lame. It's not the best way we want to approach it, because it's very basic and generic, right? We want to make sure you stand out from the crowd and you have a very interesting way of presenting your speech, a very unique and great way. We can make it sound more interesting by saying, today we're going to be talk about ... or in my speech we will address ... right? There are hundreds of ways of doing this. You guys can look up online on ways to do it. You can watch example speeches and how they do it as well and pull from them, right? Whatever you settle with, make sure you write it on your note card so you don't forget, right? When we're up there giving our speech, we're under a lot of pressure and we panic and we forget things. So use your note card. Your note card is your friend, guys. And after you've told what your topic is to the judge, you must let them know what your speech is going to be about. And we have a lot of roadmaps here on the outlines. Usually roadmaps are not used if you want to keep your speech a secret, right? Very rare that's the case. Usually you just want to tell your judge, hey, we're going to first talk about this, and then we're going to move on to this, and then my conclusion or whatever, right? Always give your judge a preview / roadmap of your speech, because if you do so, you look more organized and your judge and audience can stay on track with you. They know what's coming and they can stay with you with your speech. All right. So all of that. And then from there, when we're transitioning into the body paragraph, just simply follow the template. Body paragraphs are up to you guys. Just make sure you provide examples, reasoning, whatever, all those things. Don't forget those, because if, for example, if you're doing a persuasive speech and you're not giving evidence or you're not giving a warrant, then your speech is gonna fall apart. It's not very persuasive anymore. And then make sure to write as little as possible. Don't overflow your note card. Don't write so much that you pretty much wrote your entire speech and your script is on your note card, right? We want to make sure that you write as little as possible, but enough that you know what you're gonna say, right? So you want to make sure you don't want to fill up your note card, but write enough where you know what you want to say. Alright guys, time for the scariest part, giving your speech. I'll go over the basic things you need to know as novice or JV. So first, you want to make sure your body language is good. You can do this by reminding yourself to avoid bad habits, such as keeping your hands out of your pockets, making sure you do not play with your pen, your note card, your lanyard, phone, or whatever. Your hands should have nothing but your note card. Your hands are not in your pocket either, so don't do that. And then next, you gotta make sure you have good eye contact, guys. So make sure you're looking at the judge, make sure you're looking at the audience. However, for people who are new to impromptu that aren't really comfortable with eye contact yet, you can do a trick where you pick 3 points in the room, and with those 3 points, you just shift your eye contact between them, right? So one point could be to the left side of the room, the other point could be the right side of the room, and then your center point can be right behind your judge or above your judge, whatever it may be. It could be walls, it could be windows, objects, as long as you have those points, and it kind of pretending you have eye contact, right? But it works. Right? And then for hand gestures, right? We gotta practice hand gestures and make them meaningful. That's how you take your delivery to the next level, right? Don't just add hand gestures just to add them. Add hand gestures if you don't really have hand gestures at all when you speak. But if you're already working on hand gestures, start making them more meaningful, right? Use your hand gestures to help you emphasize certain parts in your speech, help them to convey emotions. Hand gestures are very, very important, guys, right? If you watch politicians, if you watch anybody giving a speech, they always have hand gestures and it looks pretty good most of the time. But yeah, make sure they are meaningful rather than just have them move around randomly, right? If I'm just talking, I'm moving my hands around all the time, the hand gestures just start getting annoying. All right. So next, we gotta make sure we project our voice, right? So let's talk about how you can deliver an amazing speech with your voice. You gotta make sure you have projection. The judge cannot score you high if you can't speak up, right? The judges can't score you if they don't even hear what you're saying. So make sure you speak up, make sure you fill the whole room. Small things like making sure the note card is not right in front of your face. That can block off a lot of your sound and make you sound very quiet even though you're speaking up. Small things like that. Just make sure you don't do that. We want the room to be filled. And what I mean by that is you're loud enough to where the people in the back can hear you as well. Not only the judge in the front, but the people in the back too, or pretend there are people in the back, right? And then one last thing you can do to improve your speech is adding transitions. So words like first, secondly, next, then are great transitions. Phrases like let's now talk about blah 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 or let's transition to blah blah blah. These things allow your audience to keep up with where you are going with your speech, guys. Okay, so here's my contact info. In case you guys have any questions, please reach out to me at danny.nguyen@aurorak12.org. The Doodle phone number and email is listed right there. And if you guys want more resources for other topics, other events, or if you're curious, just go and check out denverdebate.org, guys.